Hello, all my lovely ninth graders, and welcome to today's session. This is your summary under 10 minutes, and today we will be going over chapter 5 from Moments, which is The Happy Prince. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get right to it. So, The Happy Prince is a beautiful story written by Oscar Wilde. It is the tale of a sculpture of the Happy Prince that was covered with gold leaves and precious gems. The statue was placed at a height such that it overlooked the city from the top. One fine day, a swallow bird took shelter under the sculpture as he was flying to Egypt. He found that the happy prince was not happy indeed, but was rather miserable. So the bird asked the prince the reason for his unhappiness. The prince told him that when he was alive, he used to stay happy in his palace. He stayed uninformed of his people during his lifetime. But when he died, his statue was erected high on a tall column over the city. He became sad when he started noticing the misery and sufferings of the needy people of the city. And while his sculpture was covered with gold and many precious jewels, he could not help those in need since he couldn't move. So when the bird saw the prince's eyes filled with tears upon seeing the misery of the people, he decided to become the messenger of the prince to make him happy again. At first, the prince asked the swallow to take the ruby from his sword and give it to the needy seamstress or a woman who sews dresses who had no money to take care of her ailing son. On another occasion, the prince asked the bird to take out one sapphire from his eye and offer it to the poor dramatist who could not afford to make fire during winter to proceed with his composition. The bird followed the prince's instructions. One day, the prince noticed a match girl who was ruthlessly or badly beaten by her father for allowing her matches to fall in the canal. The prince's heart was filled with pain, and he promptly asked the swallow to pluck out his other eye and help the young lady. However, the swallow was unwilling to do so, as this would make the prince totally blind or visually impaired. But the prince insisted. Thereafter, the compassionate bird chose not to leave the prince, who was completely blind at this point. The bird would fly around the city and tell the prince about everything that he saw. Upon the instructions of the prince, the swallow removed the fine gold leaves from his body and offered it to the poor people. They did this until the happy prince looked very dull and somber. Soon, winter came and there was snow everywhere, and the bird became colder and colder. Despite being weary and cold, he didn't leave the prince. Eventually, he became frail and died from exhaustion. Just then, there was a sudden, curious crack that came from inside the sculpture, as though something had broken. It was indeed the lead heart of the prince that had snapped directly in two pieces at the sudden demise of the sweet and kind swallow. When the mayor and the town councillors saw the dull statue of the prince, they pulled it down. Soon after, they melted the sculpture in a furnace, yet the broken heart didn't melt. Thus, it was rendered useless for them, so they discarded it where the dead swallow was lying. Soon, God requested one of his angels to bring the two most valuable things in the city. And guess what? The angel brought the lead heart of the prince and the dead swallow. God warmly welcomed two beings in his garden of paradise and regarded them as his most charming creations. That brings us to the end of this wonderful story. Before I take your leave, just a few reminders. Do enroll for Anthe. All those of you who haven't already, what are you waiting for? You might just win a chance to go to NASA. So, go for it. And as always, we've got you covered. All we need you to do is like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you don't miss out on any updates and so that we know that whatever we are creating for you, you like it. So go ahead, press that like button, and I will see you next time.